Well, the saying goes, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Well, that could be true, but free advice?
We got you covered there. Specifically, where your car is concerned, 3 viewer questions are ready to go.
This guy has the answers. Peter Fink owns Certified Transmission. Good to see you, Peter.
Hi, Peter.
Great to be here. You ruined it. I was looking for that free lunch, Mike. I mean,
Where do you want to go?
I'll
It's
take
his
you out.
treat.
Yeah, I'll take you
right.
out.
You might
There
know
you go.
some
Don't
good
worry about it.
spots.
All right.
Yeah, he knows food.
Spots
Definitely.
you've never been to. Sons of Italy's first on the list. We'll take you down there.
All right.
Let's get to this first question. Andrew's up first. My Chrysler Sebring's transmission light came on and it was a little low on fluid, so I added less than a half a quart, then drove it for about 2 weeks, and the light came on again. Now it's showing that there's too much fluid in it. Is there anything wrong with the car? It seems to shift decent. Is there any way I can drain the extra fluid, or is this a bigger issue?
Well, you know what? Checking fluid anymore on cars is getting complicated. In the old days, you had a dipstick, okay, and it had a range, okay, and it wasn't, it was fairly easy to figure out where to put it. Nowadays, on newer cars, you have to have a scanner to make sure it's at the right temperature, and because fluid does expand as it gets warmer, okay, and stuff, and that's why on the dipstick it had a checkered area, kind of for about a ½ inch or an inch or something like this, that it's supposed to be in that range. On this Sebring, actually, I don't know that they have a light that comes on that says you're low on fluid. So with that light coming on, I think you've got a different problem. Possibly like an input speed sensor. That's electronics, 4-speed transmission in that thing. It was actually one of the most sophisticated transmissions when it came out back in, when was that? Like 1999 or something like that. But regardless, and then the light went out. I think that's a coincidence on the fluid, okay, and stuff. I don't think that has anything to do with it. Back to the question. The only way you can really get it out is suck it out, okay, with like a suction pump or a syringe or something like that. Or you can pull a cooling line off at the radiator and start it, and then it'll pump fluid. Of course, it'll make a mess if you don't have the right line and a hose on it, and you know, going into a container and things like this. Probably what I would recommend to do is get it into a shop, have them check it. They need to scan the computer, see what's going on. I don't think it's a fluid level deal. It's probably time for a service anyway to change the fluid and filter. They'll get it at the right height at a shop, okay, and things like this. If you're just a little bit over, it won't ruin it. If you're a lot, it will spit it out a vent and make it look like it's leaking, okay? But overfilling it will not ruin the transmission, so that you don't have to worry about. Okay?
I'm just wondering if it's that bigger issue part of the question.
I think there probably is, okay?
Yeah.
I think there's a little more going on here than just a
How
fluid
much is it
deal.
just to get in to get somebody to look at it?
You know, if they tell them they weren't seeing it on the blend, we usually charge $39.95 to check it out, but I'll waive that fee if you tell them we're on from the
that's
blend,
nice.
okay? If you've seen it on the blend, okay?
a great
So
gift, Peter.
call one of the shops, we'll check it out for you, no charge.
Yeah, and all of those are online, certifiedtransmission.com. Leah is up next.
All right.
She writes, I traded in my old Jeep for a crossover vehicle that seems to have a little less power. In my new car, if I'm stopped going uphill, I roll back when I lift off the gas. My old vehicle didn't do this. Is there something I can do to keep it from happening?
Well, lots of questions here, okay, as far as how steep the hill is, okay, and stuff.
That's a math problem.
Exactly.
What time
okay?
did the two
Yeah,
trains
you know,
meet in
my
Denver?
Jeep rolls backwards even when I'm on hills too, okay? But, you know, usually I'm looking up at the sky, okay, or something, you know.
Peter's an adventurous guy on the weekends.
A little
You're out
bit.
hitting
I like
the dunes
to play
and
hard
stuff.
on the weekends.
Right.
You know, you said you got a new vehicle, so I'm assuming this is a new vehicle, okay, and not a used vehicle that's new to you with a lot of miles, okay? If this happens on a vehicle that has a lot of miles on it, okay, possibly the engine's not running quite right, and if it doesn't idle at the right speed, it will roll a little bit backwards, okay? Second, if the torque converter in the transmission is starting to go bad or weak, it will also let it roll backwards, okay? This one, you're not gonna be able to check out yourself. You probably need to get it to a shop. If it's a new vehicle, it's under warranty, get it back, complain about it, and they might say it's normal, and that's okay. Like I said, depending upon the grade of the hill, it will, okay, roll backwards. I mean, if you got one, you're on a hill like this, okay, it won't roll backwards, but when you're on flat ground, it's gonna keep rolling, and the brakes don't wanna stop it, okay, you know, so it's a happy medium, okay. I'm sure the stall speed's a little different in the torque converter than it was on the Jeep, okay, and stuff. On stick shifts, they now got a new feature that the brakes stay on till you actually start letting the clutch out, that you don't roll backwards.
So you don't have to be as quick on
Instead of
the
the old
clutch.
stick.
Yeah, you didn't know, the old days, oh my gosh, I mean, that was always
my first
scary.
car was a
okay,
stick,
so
and you'd be on a hill and hold
the
your breath.
automatics, you know, it's pretty easy. Even if it does roll backwards, you're on the brake, you get on the gas, not
We
a
got to
big
get
deal.
this last question. Finally, Kelly asked, when I turn on the AC in my 2013 Dodge Durango, it doesn't seem to blow cold up front, but it does if I hit the auto button. Does this signal a problem, or do I just not understand my buttons?
Well, I always like the auto button. I leave mine always
I
on
do too.
auto and set it
Yeah.
on a temperature and leave it that way, okay? But the manual, if it's working on the auto, I would think the system's working properly, okay? I would have to think that you're not pushing one of the buttons quite properly. If there was really a real problem with this, maybe one of the blend doors inside the dash isn't working right, but again, I can't see it not working on the manual mode and working on the automatic mode, okay? So I really think there's something that, and you know, they got a lot of different settings anymore and somewhat complicated. I'm not saying
Revisit
you
the
don't know
owner's
your,
manual.
Yeah, probably good
Yeah.
idea there.
Or just visit
or
it,
just
as
leave it
most
on
of us have
auto,
never even
okay?
looked at
Don't
it
worry
once.
about it, you know? I mean, I like auto. I'm kind of lazy, okay?
I do
Nice
too. I
and
keep it on
predictable.
auto too.
Our first viewer, our first caller, this isn't a radio show, Peter. It's Monday, please excuse me. Our first viewer was writing in about their transmission.
Right.
So we'll show them where to find you online, and anybody else who might be having an issue, because that's important. You can make
Great.
appointments online. If you go to certifiedtransmission.com, 5 locations in the Omaha area.
Yep.
Thank you, Peter.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
All right.
Great to see you.
I'm the only